Thank you, Elena. Welcome, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Jessica Martin, and I'm the head of Ads Privacy APAC at Google. Today, I wanted to spend some time discussing the changes we're experiencing as an ecosystem. And by that, I mean the ecosystem that we operate in and day out. We have users, marketers, and importantly, news publishers, all vital in the digital ecosystem. Google's mission is to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. Google's ambition is to continue to raise the bar for user privacy and ensure a thriving ad-supported digital ecosystem. I say the word continue here, as privacy has been ingrained in Google's DNA since the beginning. We have publicly published our 7 privacy principles, and the top one states, respect our users, respect their privacy. People around the world should continue to have access to great content across the web and on apps, while also having access to simple tools that allow people greater transparency, choice, and control over their data and help them feel confident that their privacy is protected. Google's belief is that when we say transparency, we mean users should be able to easily see and understand how their data is being collected and used for ads. Choice means providing users choice about how they experience the web and apps. This should be respected, and any attempts to bypass those choices should be prevented. With control, we mean users should have the ability to adjust how their data is collected and used to tailor the ads they see, including whether those ads are personalized at all. We understand that there isn't one-size-fits-all solutions when it comes to privacy, so it's important to provide users with choice. In APAC, user demand for additional privacy has led to both increased regulation, or pending, and stepped-up controls from all browsers. We understand that there are varying meanings around user privacy. I appreciate that amongst this group today, it can have a more personal meaning, such as your photos on Google, and for others, a more professional association, like data usage. Today, I would like to look at the regulatory changes and the changes occurring across all browsers in relation to third-party cookies. Let's take regulatory changes first. These regulations are most well known are GDPR and CCPA, which are largely concerned with businesses gaining consent from users to be able to use their data. These regulations are very focused on businesses who engage with users from Europe and California. But if we bring it back closer to home, there are ongoing discussions in this space. It is telling that the regulation trend will be apparent in Indonesia as well as across APAC, bringing privacy to the forefront for ads and monetization of content. If I were to visually represent the regulatory landscape globally, it would look something like this. In the past several years, governments around the world have become increasingly active in defining what constitutes people's personal data and how it can be collected and used by companies. The increase in regulations is reshaping the ads ecosystem and forcing ad tech companies to rethink the role of consent within advertising and provide greater protection to personal information. Similar regulations and other privacy updates are currently in various stages all around the world. Some markets have privacy laws in place, like Brazil, Japan, Korea, Singapore, Philippines, to name a few, and others, like Indonesia, India, and Pakistan, are expecting them soon. The details may vary, but the principles that stem from them are consistent. The industry is pivoting towards advertising that is driven by user choice and consent. Users should be able to control and give permissions as to how sites and apps use their data. There are broad definitions of and greater protections of personal information. Google continues to engage with lawmakers, data protection authorities, and key opinion formers on legislation that raises the bar for user privacy, while enabling key marketing use cases and consistency across geographies. We previously shared a broad framework for privacy legislation, providing our view on the requirements, scope, and enforcement expectations that should be reflected in responsible data protection laws. One day, I expect this graph will be completely colored in. Now, let's discuss the second change across the ecosystem. It involves browsers and the limitation of third-party cookies. Internet platforms are shifting to meet higher user expectations, impacting the way data is collected and shared in digital advertising industry. These changes create new and important considerations for digital marketers and publishers. But before we go on, let's make sure everyone's on the same page. When we speak about cookies, what do we mean? They're not the nice biscuits we eat. A first-party cookie is the one that comes from the same site you're currently visiting. So for example, if you log on to thetimes.com, a cookie is dropped by thetimes.com to register your signed-in status. And that is a first-party cookie because it comes from the domain that you are browsing. On the other hand, a third-party cookie is set by domains other than the website that the user is directly visiting. These cookies are typically used by different platforms and services than the website visits, such as demand-side platforms, sell-side platforms, and ad networks, to name a few. Now, we're all on the same page. Let's explore what's actually happening in relation to cookies. I appreciate there's a lot going on here, but let me talk you through it. So most web browsers, such as Safari and Firefox, have already added features that limit third-party cookies, including those used for ads personalization and measurement. In January, Chrome announced the phasing out of third-party cookies once privacy-preserving alternatives are available, aiming for early 2022. You can see the number of changes and what they mean referenced here. And it's interesting when you think about the terminology used. A cookieless future. It's not so much about the future, it's a reality now for some. It is not platform specific either. In the app world, similar changes to operating systems and how they deliver personalized advertising is evolving as well, such as the recent iOS 14 announcements. As a result of the changes, some of the functionality that relies on third-party cookies are already impacted. To highlight a few, remarketing lists that rely on third-party cookies to add users to a list will be reduced. Audience lists, a large portion of audiences targeting requires a third-party cookie today. Without a third-party cookie, the ability to target specific audiences will not be possible. And user logins, publishers that rely on third-party sign-in platforms like Google may see less users. In some cases, we've been able to launch product solutions as well as working with the Chrome team on alternative solutions. The Chrome team have been aligned on privacy and security as an ongoing focus. Nothing changes here. Chrome has set up a place called the Privacy Sandbox, and the sandbox is a space where the ecosystem can collaborate to develop solutions. In order to assist in this, we are following some process principles which are well established in the web community, such as collaboration. Any stakeholder should be able to propose solutions and provide input. And with the Privacy Sandbox, we are seeing that happen. Transparency. Every step of the process is public. This is why we're directing feedback and questions to the public forums where they can be heard by all participants, not just Chrome. And lastly, ecosystem voices are needed in the public forums, raising use cases and sharing perspectives directly and independently. For some, this might mean learning to navigate forums that are unfamiliar, but these forums are where the collaboration is happening. This call for collaboration also includes other browsers and web platforms. This is a key point. We're not trying to develop solutions that only work in Chrome. Cross-browser support is part of the goal. It's not a guaranteed outcome, and each browser makes its own choices. So we encourage you to all engage in and with the Privacy Sandbox proposals. The reason why we ask for collaboration is that publishers play a pivotal role in the ecosystem, along with users and marketers. All parties are required to enable universal access to quality information. Ads play a major role in making the internet easily accessible, open place. But advertising has to work for everyone. When it does, it means users can get access to information and great content. Creators and publishers can thrive by getting fair compensation for their work. And marketers can connect effectively with people interested in what they have to offer. We all need to understand and accept the responsibility we have to protect people's privacy, especially when it comes to the ads they see. The changes to the ecosystem and increased regulatory oversight indicate a watershed in how users interact with digital content. Consumers are demanding more from their digital experience. the content producers still need to fund the creation of their content. But increasingly, there are users who feel shortchanged in the deal, and they are losing trust in how their personal data is being handled. The ads ecosystem is at risk. With the increase in regulation and as users are increasingly concerned about their privacy, people are more invested in understanding and controlling how their data is being used for ads. For example, daily active users on My Activity, where users can go to manage information that is saved to their Google account, have increased from 2 million users in 2016 to over 16 million users today. With all this change, the takeaway is that we are all in this together. And as an ecosystem, we need to adapt. Marketers and publishers should invest for this privacy-first, user-centric future today. You need to understand the responsibility you have to protect users' data that they share with you. So what does this mean for you as a publisher? The needs of users have not changed, but their expectations are higher when it comes to transparency and how their data is used. Users still want access to high-quality premium content on the web and app. Google fundamentally believes that in easy access to the open web, as we think about the next evolution of digital, this continues to be a core value. We are committing to helping our publishers navigate this evolution, and we've collated what we're seeing and best practices of publishers as they prepare for the privacy-first future. Here are a few. First and foremost, ensure you are transparent with your users about the usage of data on your properties. Evaluate adopting technology and hiring dedicated talent to develop first-party data strategies for advertising, content recommendation, and subscriptions in a privacy-safe way. Consider developing or leveraging existing direct relationships with agencies and advertisers. And consider exploring alternative or additional revenue opportunities. Let's go into a couple more of these in some more detail. If you've not already, start considering developing or leveraging existing direct relationships with agencies and advertisers. Do this to be able to use first-party data to attract, build deeper relationships with, and transact more direct deals with advertisers. If you are a publisher who does not have a lot of first-party data, and we've seen others leverage their on-site analytics, such as Google Analytics, as a solution here, as data is collected on-site, is considered first-party. An added benefit is that you can learn new insights from on-site analytics, as well as how users are engaging with your content, and then adapt accordingly. Also, if you're using partners, make sure you ask them how they handle data and how they are planning for future changes. Once you have this understanding, set up direct deal types, such as programmatic guaranteed, to be able to access new audiences with ease. Direct reservations ensure that advertisers secure the inventory and audiences they know they need, while allowing publishers to sell more of their inventory upfront, typically at more premium prices. Next, consider exploring alternative or additional revenue opportunities. Users value choice, and in some cases, they may prefer to pay a subscription fee for an ad-free experience. Subscribe with Google is one way to help you deliver that choice. The solution offers a simple workflow for users to subscribe to publications and maintain access everywhere: websites, apps, and even search results. And lastly, publishers should also consider how to prepare their businesses for success in the long term. It is a journey we are all on, and here's a couple of ways we can see you getting started today. Engage with industry bodies to help shape future web standards, such as transparency, choice, and control. Discuss privacy-preserving alternatives and share your thoughts and opinions as part of the Privacy Sandbox initiative. And lastly, we're continuing to explore principles for data collection, data use, data sharing, and data retention. The goal is to use as little data as possible and to continue to provide a great user experience across our products, such as ads. We also know that it's important to develop norms that apply to the industry as a whole, and not just to Google, in order to significantly improve the user experience across the ecosystem. That's why we are working closely with industry bodies to explore what these future-looking principles should be. So in closing, we've shared a lot with you today about the changes that are impacting our ecosystem, which are challenging how we have advertised and measured activity to date. Being in the midst of a digital ads revolution creates both urgency and opportunities for the privacy-focused publishers and marketers. To recap, the main points we've discussed: develop clear user-driven data policies and partnerships. Consider your first-party data strategy and engage in the conversation with the industry to develop privacy norms for Indonesia. Google will continue to build for a privacy-focused future and look forward to continuing to partner with you along this journey. Now I'm going to pass you over to Fazel, who will talk to us a bit about G&I. Thank you.